Here we go. I call to order the special meeting of the City of Aransas Pass City Council, October 25th, 2021 at 5:30 p.m. And we're going to go straight to Development Services, which is case number 2110-01. Consider an act on ordinance abandoning a 0.165 acre tract of land being out of and part of the 40-foot unimproved right-of-way northeast of Farm Lots 3 and 4, land block 75 of the T.P. McCampbell subdivision, according to the establishment map or plat thereof, as recorded in envelope 11, page 21 and 22 of map records, San Patricio County, Texas, as defined by
Meets and bounds.
Meets and bounds plat of said closure, both attached hereto and providing for a revision of said abandoned area to the abutting property owners tabled 10/18/2021.
Yes, so this case was heard last week, the 18th, and it was tabled because council members wanted more information as to the aspect of where 3rd Street connects 1069, and the neighborhood over there were not in favor of letting the Bay Breeze Harbor Heights development connecting to that street, County Street, also known as 3rd Street. And so we did some research into that. We went back to the previous meetings from Planning and Zoning Commission when the second phase of the project was heard and what ensued. And we found out that the neighborhood came against that connection. There was not very serious consensus that whether it should be closed or not, but the neighborhood came strongly against it to allow the street portion to be connected to that portion. And so that is the conclusion that we have. Any other questions? I guess some of the neighbors are here. If you want to find out any more questions, they are here to.
I do have a couple of questions.
Okay.
One was on a map that I saw somewhere that I'm trying to find again. Okay. It is on this map. I can't enlarge it. So, the section of unimproved road, so there, I understand, there is no roadway, it's a right-of-way. There is, correct? From Avenue A back to 3rd Street. There's nothing there. It's just,
Pepper Street.
okay. On this map I'm looking at, it's a vicinity map, it says 0.384 acre right-of-way abandonment. Have we already abandoned the first section of that off Avenue A?
No.
No, okay. Then I was just confused by the wording then. Because it says 0.384 acre right-of-way abandonment.
Is that the application you are looking at? We are looking at the application. I don't know which one you're talking about. We are abandoning .165.
Oh, I'm looking at Urban Surveyor. I guess I'm looking at the survey map.
The survey map should show that it is .165.
Not the area in question. That's not what I'm asking about.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
talking about the area between that, so from where the area in question is, from there to Avenue A.
Oh, that portion is another application. It will come later on to close that portion too. We are working on that one.
Okay, so that's has to be another.
Yeah, and that area is not currently annexed into the city. So it will come into a double phase. We will annex it and also close that street portion.
Okay, so I
but
guess
at a later date.
So I guess my next question is for Trey. So Trey, y'all own all of that property as well? No.
Yeah.
Trey Summers, Hogan Homes. Yes, so we do not currently own that portion that you're asking about, which is why it's going to have to come at a later date. That is going to be annexed and abandoned in the same meeting, and that is because of it's a different owner. Our agreement with the city in our development agreement was that when we platted, that section of right-of-way would, when it was annexed, would also be abandoned as well, and that is already in our city agreement. Also, the final plat that was submitted for Harbor Heights Phase 3 has the section that is in the map tonight already included in the final plat, so that has already been included in the abandonment. So it's really just answer some questions and make sure you have to take a vote on it, but the plat has already been voted on and approved by City Council, and that includes this area that we're talking about tonight. In the next couple weeks, the section between there and Avenue A will come for the annexation and abandonment. AEP needs that right away so that they can run electrical down the backside of the neighborhood to do a continuous loop there, which will actually probably help 3rd Street. We've been in agreement with the neighbors on 3rd Street this entire time that we do not want that access as well. That was a requirement of the city planner at the time. We would assume not have that access, but there again, that was what the city planner required at that time.
Okay, well then you just answered all my questions. If we already decided, or whatever meeting that was where we platted it, would that have
So
gone
in
to planning and zoning,
2016,
or
so in
zoning board of
2016, the development agreement was signed by the mayor at the time, and that included the language that the city would abandon the right-of-ways for McClung and Ebert when those were annexed and included in the preliminary plat for each phase. And so when we submitted for Phase 3, well, let me back up. Phase 1, that Ebert was abandoned at that time. Half of it went to Harbor Heights, half went to the neighbors there to the south of us. And then when we got back around, this was the first time that we were touching this right away, and so that's why it was included in the final plat there while that section was included in the final plat.
Yeah, and that's fine. It's already done. It's already done. My whole thought process to where I was going was, if McClung is a long road, it goes all the way through town to Euclid, I think. And so my thought process was, why on earth would we give up another area? Not to tie it into 3rd Street, because I understand that too. If I lived on 3rd Street, I wouldn't want all these yahoos going through my nice neighborhood either. But I think it's a bad part on the city to have allowed the abandonment of that right-of-way up to 3rd Street when we could have had a good through street through town. But it's already been done, so
well,
here
to your point, though, that is only a 40-foot right-of-way, so there wasn't enough right-of-way width for a city collector or a residential street to go through, because you need a minimum of 50 feet. So therefore, the 40-foot right-of-way wouldn't have worked for a city street as is on the plat today.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. It is what it is. But we do need, as a city, we need more, better streets, improved within our city limits. We don't need to be giving away areas where we could have good egress, ingress. Is that the right word? Yeah, but it's already done deal, it sounds like. So.
And to my neighbors over here on 3rd Street, I'm not sure if any of them are here, but usually I have a big crowd when I come to these things, it seems.
There's not any of them that did.
That section of 3rd Street is not included with this tonight. I know in the next phase it will be addressed at that point. So look forward to seeing everybody here again. So,
Okay, if you want to speak, you want to come up to the
yeah. Well, let me just address, right now the preliminary plat does have that access to 3rd Street because that was a requirement of the city planner at the time. However, in multiple conversations that we've had both here at council, at planning and zoning, with the Third Street neighbors. My engineer has sent some emails to say, we do not want the Third Street. I know that the neighbors do not want the Third Street. There again, it's up to city staff and city council to decide whether to Third Street or not.
Ma'am.
Just a minute. Howard Gillespie, County Commissioner, Precinct 4, San Patricio County. I was invited to come as well. The people from Third Street do not want to have, a through access to 1069. It's a non-starter for them, okay? We've been through this before. Are we going to have to come back more times than this to make sure that doesn't happen? What do we have to do?
Well, it's already, he said it was already in the plat that we have to.
We're good.
If we cut this part of the street, we'd have to go around and come back around and whatever to open it back up now.
Okay, take it your word.
the-
Okay,
so
thank you
the
very much.
answer is
Appreciate
no.
it. That's answers my question. Thank you.
Yeah, so just for, when we come back for Harbor Heights, the next phase where Third Street is, that's when we need to decide as a city, do they want the access to Third Street? Because it will require a new design right there showing that there is not that access to Third Street, which I would prefer to not have. And so it will be addressed next time we come up for that. But right now, the preliminary plat does show access to Third Street, but we'll just have to address that with city staff and council and planning and zoning and our neighbors. And to your question, I don't know which all the neighbors I've talked to on Third Street. It's been a group every single time I've been up here. So I'm not speaking on behalf of everybody. I'm just speaking on the behalf of people that have talked to me.
Are you willing to talk to anybody who wants to talk, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Kelly, they want to talk to them up to the podium.
They have to come up to the
Come
podium.
up to the podium. State your name and address for the record.
My name is Jenny Hill. I live on Maverick Trail, which is in Whispering Oaks subdivision, which includes Third Street. And my question is there any way to address the fact that we will, at least in my lifetime, in knowing the neighbors I know, we will never want to have the traffic connect from the city through down Third Street to 1069. It's just, we don't want it to happen. Is there any way to just go forward, get it done, like you say, it is what it is, done deal, move on, instead of having to come back and come back. I'll have to be in a wheelchair, but I will get here, as many of us will.
Well, I think at this time, it's just a formality. It's something that we have to go through for the next phase. We can't pass each phase tonight. It has to go through the certain process. So,
Can we do it in the next 3 months?
I have
I'm
no-
just saying
no idea.
that you know the situation.
Well,
aware of
if
it.
we abandon this part of the road, or unimproved street, if we abandon this part tonight, then there's zero reason to have, we couldn't have a thorough street any longer.
No, that's from this paper street connecting with Third Street, but there's the other phases where the road curves, and I don't have the actual plat with me, but kind of perfectly curves into the area where the cul-de-sac is on Third Street, so.
Well, I think it's pretty safe to say that, no, it's not, that will not happen. It's pretty safe to say.
That what will not happen?
There won't be a through, it will not
Street.
continue through to Third Street.
To 1069. Right.
Just, we're,
And even the developer said that. He's not interested in that. So,
You heard it just like I did.
Okay, clear as mud. I appreciate your
always is.
consideration. Thank you.
thank you.
Come on up, Shelley.
I have a question for the developer, because I have no idea on the next phase, how far behind are y'all going towards? Shelley Keller, I live on Third Street. How far are the phases going? Are they going towards the apartments, towards the high school? Where are they building? Are they going towards the other way, I kind of would like to know. I'd like to see a map of where they're planning on building.
There's a preliminary plat right here. And we can discuss this outside of council, but right now we're right here. This is a phase that's undeveloped currently. This little section is part of this phase here, and then we have all of this as well as it goes down towards Highlands.
And this is what you've already paved?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Mhm.
And so will you build over here too?
No, this is, we basically are Avenue A, McClung, Evert, and then back here to Third Street, and then back down towards Highland.
So the Tringales have sold their property too?
Was Gallagher property.
Okay.
And this is a Google map on that shows exactly this is right here, and this is us. This is Windy Shores, and that was a proposed road through there, but that's where they're gonna come right there.
Correct. Yes, sir.
The other deal.
And then this is our detention pond as you see it today, and so it'll come down just this side of the detention
And
pond.
collect to Highland.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
The preliminary plat is probably on is it on city website?
Do y'all know whatever happened to the retention pond by the school and the apartments? It's full. It's not dug out. They put it there when they built the apartments, the Navy homes, and it's full, and they were gonna build a second one. Never did.
We've had that question come up
We sure
before.
have. Yes, we have
Because
approached
we have
them on
flooding.
that, and they said they are going to correct that, but they have not yet, but they're aware of that.
Time to
And that's
send in the
absolutely-
dogs.
I'm sorry.
Time to send in the hounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I'll check back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Karen Youngworth, 23333 County Road, 3rd Street. The way I found out about this was a poster that weathered rain and wind set up by our post boxes at the beginning of our street. I have been looking for the poster because I remember something about a third phase. But, you know, we all live right there. I don't know why, either by hand, 30 houses, how hard is that? You said you spoke to some people, but I've never been spoken to. Found out about this and everything that's going on, and the first time when I was here at the last meeting, a year or so ago, from a poster at the front. That's just, pretty crazy for something as important as this. I'd just like to say, and thank you to our neighbors who put up that poster and little things clipped with those clippy things you use, file clips. So maybe we can do better than that on something so important. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
We'll get out of here.
Favor of the council?
Do you want to read it, Carrie?
Mayor, council, thank you very much. I appreciate your patience. Okay, I do.
Thank you.
Yep.
Howard.
You're welcome. Trey?
You ready to move forward?
Keep it.
Call the motion, let's
Yes,
go.
let's go.
I make a motion to act on an ordinance abandoning a 0.165 acre tract of land being out of and a part of a 40-foot unimproved right-of-way northeast of Farm Lots 3 and 4, Land Block 75 of the T.P. McCampbell subdivision, according to the established map or plat thereof as recorded in
Keep going.
Envelope 11, pages 21 and 22 of the map record, San Patricio County, Texas, as defined by meets and bounds and plat of said closure, both attached hereto, and providing for reversion of said abandoned area to the abutting property owners.
Second. She second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we're gonna go to the city manager, which is considered actually approving change order number 2 with J.M. Davison in the amount of $39,500 for the Con Brown Harbor bulkhead project.
Mayor and council, this is the ongoing issue with the bulkhead. This change order started out at $208,000. However, with Davidson and Ardura working together, they were able to bring it down to 39,000, quite a drop. Javier is here to talk about what that entails as far as the change order. Javier, you want to go ahead and talk?
Yeah, so on the east side of the harbor, we tried our best to put those concrete piles in. Right? We tried every which way, but the wall that's there was stated at 30 feet. It's not 30 feet. It came back being 12 feet. The wall that you had there before I got there, it's 12-foot wall, and we were trying to install 30-foot piles in there. So whenever we install these piles, we have to jet. So we get a pipe full of water and blast everything under there to loosen it up, and the weight alone just goes down. We got 2 in, and the wall started to break. So I reached out to Ardura, told them what was happening, and they said, let's try putting in sheet piles. We put in the sheet piles on the south side and the north side locations, and they are sitting in there right now, holding up the wall. On the north side, we went in front of the old bulkhead. On the south side, we eliminated most of the bulkhead, and we just put in sheet piles. So we used Captain Katie's sheet piles for the bait shop. That's what made your number come down a lot. Ardura is working on a plan to put in something else at Captain Katie's. So right now, all we're charging, or all we're billing, trying to get in this change order is some extra fill. And it was an extra fill, a little bit of work that we had to entail, removing some of the wall, and bringing some stuff over. That's about it. So try to work. I know you guys don't like big numbers, and us and Ardura got together, and this is the number we came up with. But progress is progress, and we've done, like I said, all the wall on that side. We're putting in some dirt right now. The dirt's already in place. I got my guys ready to put the dead man in place this week. That's coming this week or next week. We're going to be digging in, putting in a dead man, putting in new tie rods, doing all the work. So it did hold better than what the concrete sheet piles we're going to be doing. So
You should have listened to Mike from the beginning. He told you.
I already heard this from Mike. I have heard it.
Is this one of those "we told you so" moments?
We went through this, yeah,
Yep.
exactly. But I can honestly say that you guys have done a great job, and you're on the job every day, and we appreciate that.
Yep. So I know we don't want change orders, but we're trying to make it work with what we got. So this, all I put in there as a clause is if we do go back to sheet piles, there is going to be a higher amount change order in order to replace these sheet piles.
Of course.
But other than that, everything is good. Like I said, we should be out of the east side in 2 to 2.5 weeks with a wall and everything up. Then we're going to go hit redfish again.
We're ready.
Everybody good? Any questions? Good? Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks. Well, I make a motion that we approve a change order number 2 with J.M. Davidson in the amount of $39,500 for the Con Brown Harbor bulkhead project.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we're going to go into executive session to section 551.071 of the Texas Open Meeting Act to meet with his attorney to seek legal advice on a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the city council under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with the Texas Open Meeting Act relating to panhandling ordinance. And it is five.
Five what?
Five.
Five.
Okay, we're gonna reconvene in open session to consider and take action, if any, on any item discussed in executive session. And it's,
No.
6:23.
No action.
No action taken.
Okay, we're gonna go into the discussion items, which is the occupant tower lease with, Stephen Ross.
Rosa.
Rosa?
Rosa.
No. He's not here, correct? I mean, he wasn't on there, so we're gonna have to, we'll try it later, but he isn't there.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna skip that one. Then we're gonna go to update on Torrent furlough zoning case, Jose, City Planner.
So this is a review of the Tom Fallow RV project on Commercial and Guile. This rezoning request was approved by council on September 21st, 2020, last year. And one of the conditions was that he start construction a year limit within the time that this application was approved. However, he's not, due to some extenuating circumstances, he's not been able to start. And so he's here to give you an explanation why he's not been able to start. But having had discussions with him in several meetings, he's planning to, as soon as he gets these issues taken care of, he will like to start as soon as possible. However, planning department recommends 6 months extension of time for him to get his acts together to start the project. So he's here to give you his side of the story. Any
Come on.
questions for me, or you
No,
ready for
let's
him?
hear
No,
from
no.
Mr. Furlow.
First, I want to know how the Bisbee tournament went.
Like 199 other boats we lost.
Oh.
200 boats, 2 fish weighed, $2 million paid.
2 fish weighed?
2 fish weighed, 300-pound minimum. There was a 305
Yeah.
and a 495.
So was it all blue marlin or
All
black
blue
marlin?
marlin. There were 2 blue marlins. So the winner got
Dang.
1.3 million. The other boat got 800K.
Lucky son.
And the rest of us are going to get a little money back because they didn't pay all the money out. So
Oh,
nice.
maybe
well,
maybe enough to get home on. You
There
know.
you go. Got a plane ticket.
As you know, there are certain expenses involved, and
Of course.
Yeah, like fuel for the boats and stuff.
Yeah.
yes,
All right. Just thought I'd ask.
I'm glad you did. Okay, well, I'm Tom Furlow, and I appreciate y'all having us back again. So I was going back, and obviously the issue is, y'all granted the zoning change and the RV park, we need to get it started as soon as possible, and there was a 1-year date set from the date the zoning was changed. And so some things have happened since then that have caused us not to be able to do, significant construction, and, what does the term construction mean? I mean, we have done some grading and some things, but have we really gotten in and started doing the major portions of construction? We have not. But the first few months after the zoning was changed, we had this issue where there was a moratorium on RV parks, and we got an email in October, 2 weeks later, that said, hey, you're shut down for 6 months. And we kind of wrangled with that a little bit. And I think we all decided, well, because we had been approved, that didn't apply. So we started getting to work with our engineers, KFW and DTJ Designs, and started really digging into the drainage and the hard utility design and all these things. We have to replat all these lots into one big property, and we're also told that we needed to have our wetlands in order before the plat would be approved. So I ordered the wetlands survey in February of this year, and the way that works is our consultant does his research, he issues a report, In this case, he found there are no wetlands. He submits that to the Corps of Engineers. They have to send it to a third-party consultant who has to ratify what he said. We're still waiting on that report. So we can't plat the land until we get the wetlands. But in the meantime, we've done a lot. I'm kind of nervous because I've spent about $75,000 out of my pocket on planning and design and things like that. We're working every week. We have 2 weekly calls. We're working with the engineers. We're working with the city. We're figuring out, we met with them today about drainage. We think we have a solution to that. Also on the south side of our property, the culvert project that y'all are doing went in. And this summer, the contractor called me and asked, hey, can I stage the project on your land? And I said, of course, just go ahead, whatever you need. And so we're working with them to try to facilitate that. And now it turns out we're actually going to probably tie into that. So until we know how all that works, our drainage, part of our drainage at least, is undetermined. So we're working diligently. We have a lot of sophisticated plans. We're trying to get those finalized. We are waiting on the wetlands. We may seek a conditional plat approval, just anything that we can do to keep moving. It's really not that we got this approved and we sat back. It's more that we've been working really hard to try to get this going. We've just hit a lot of roadblocks and things just seem to be taking longer than we anticipated. So it's not that we're not all systems go. It's just that it's taken longer than we ever thought. But, work's being done, money's being spent. Let's see, it's mainly this platting issue, and this wetlands issue, and then getting the design ironed out. So, we sort of scrolled out a timeline if we got the wetlands today, or how long we thought it would take, and we're thinking maybe 8 months. OSI says 6. Something on that order. I just really, y'all have been really good to us, and we've had a really good open line of communication. I do not want to stand up here and tell you that we're going to do something that we can't do, and have to come back and say, oh, well, we messed up, we didn't get it done. So I would think 8 months. We're glad to report back with OSI and let them know what we're doing. We talked to them quite a bit. So we just need some more time, and we're trying to get this done. We want to get it done more than anything, but we've hit a lot of roadblocks. And, have we started construction? No, but we've done some grading and things and a lot of parts of the construction process. So, and we feel good about where we're going with this. We just need to get there. So we're asking that you give us an extension. I would suggest 8 months. And, in terms of what is construction, we need to be all clear on that so we know that we're meeting the deadline and everybody knows we've got to get to this phase and we've got to do these acts and these material things to satisfy that deadline. That would be helpful for us too. So we know that we're doing what we said we're going to do. So that's kind of where we are. I'm glad that Glenn Winship with Espada Real Estate is here. They're the real estate arm of this. I'm the landowner and one of the investors. And I believe our engineering team, we're on a call with them earlier, can be available if you have any really complicated questions about engineering that I couldn't answer. But that's the outline of where we are and what we've been doing. It's really been more like, we didn't even get an approval as to the size until December of 20. So we've been working pretty hard and spending a ton of money trying to get this done. So we would appreciate some latitude to, reasonable extension.
Mr. Furlow, you said you would appreciate an 8-month extension, and OSE said 6 months. So perhaps we give you an 8-month extension, but you come back in 6 months and tell us exactly where you are and updates so that you keep us all up to date on this?
I'm more than happy to come in and report at any time, 6 months, 6 weeks, whatever y'all need. I'm glad to be here to let you know it. Yes, ma'am, I'd be more than happy to do that.
That's good. That's good.
I think that's good.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Keep on working.
Make a motion or something? Do we need to make a motion or no?
It's for discussion
okay.
only.
Okay, all right.
Just keep talking.
Just keep
Keep
rolling.
on
Just keep rolling.
panhandling, there's no updates on that one.
Okay, we're gonna go to the impact
Okay,
fees.
please.
This will take all of 30 seconds.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Um,
Counting.
I would like to bring back to you a discussion of impact fees during a work session, not this work session. The purpose in this topic is to see if you want to bring it back to a work session. Impact fees, as you know, are opposed by developers oftentimes, but they do pay for such things as schools and roads and infrastructure. That's the whole purpose of impact fees. The impact that a developer has on a community, he helps pay for those. That's the purpose of them. I've been in other communities where we've had impact fees. There is always opposition from developers. On the other hand, it helps with the expenses related to additional challenges created by development. So is that something you want to talk about at a work session or not?
I would say yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Wonderful.
Yes.
It'll come to you then.
Okay,
I think that was 30 seconds.
yes.
Perfect.
Okay.
Now we're gonna go to review of minimum requirements for tax sale properties.
That's something that I asked Gary to put on the work session. I'd like us to go up to 50%, if not 75. That's me.
Well, I agree, because
I agree.
I agree.
I agree.
With the way property is selling right
Yep.
now, there's no reason why we couldn't
Yep.
or shouldn't.
Minimum, right?
Minimum.
Yes.
Yes,
You know,
minimum.
and I don't know if we can make a difference, I don't know, I guess Roxanne, our attorney, can tell us, if it has all the city services available.
That's a difference.
That's a different, yeah.
I'm
That's-
thinking if we can, make it a minimum of 75%, if there's no.
Well, let's just make it 75%. No? 50? 50?
Just,
We
there-
would like to a little bit more.
If it has city
Yeah.
services, it should be more.
Should be more.
I think that's
Should be more.
what we're saying. 50% on a normal, but 75 if it has city services.
I agree.
is that something we're able to do, or we're not gonna get in any kind of legal problems, Roxanne?
I think what you're asking is, what is the value of the property?
Correct.
And adjusting, considering the value of the property to how much you're willing to discount the
Yeah.
property. I think that's fine. It should be information that you're provided up front for your consideration. I also think lot size matters. I think one of the most important things about the city is that there's so many lots that are like just 25 feet in width by, they're like sardine packed. Does that make? And so when you get a lot that's 50 feet or 100 feet, I mean, that's a precious lot for our city. So I think lot size should be something that's added into your consideration. I also think as we start to think about packaging city-owned properties for developers to begin developing on it, you're going to want to know whether or not the lots are right next to or close to or within a certain distance of city-owned property. Does that?
Well, you can, you have to build a shotgun home, and that's about it. You know?
And if you ever go, I spend a lot of time on the appraisal district, just kind of looking and what's going on. And there's these thousands and hundreds of thousands, they seem like, of these little sardine lots. And I think the community people would know more than I would about those lots. But there's nothing on them right now, because you can't put anything on them. I have no idea how they ended up that way, how they got platted that way. But unless you're able to buy, and if you look at the ownership of these lots, they're owned by different people, and then a chunk will be owned by a corporation, and then they're owned by different people. So it's difficult to see how that's ever going to get developed.
I think they started out on the east side of town because the first lots were sold in a lottery here. People all over the world, like down around Railroad Street, there's people on lots there that never even been to town before. And then
That's
the
why.
farther out this way you get, the lots
About
get
100
bigger.
years ago.
That's 100 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100 years ago.
I wonder why they did that. I don't know if it was a way to prevent development.
It was, they were pushing the harbor back then.
Interesting history. But I mentioned that to know that until we figure out a way how to solve that problem, with the plats being what they are, any large size of tracts you have inside your city limits are very precious tracts.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Roxanne, one of the things we heard when we were interviewing city managers before we hired Gary the first time, one of the city managers talked about the lots and the property that we own, and if you get a list of what you have, you can have an open day with developers to come in and explain to them what we have and how it can be developed. And that may be something, if we can put all this together for 2022, we may be able to pull something like that together.
And have them go and approach the individual owners.
Right.
Not the city be involved, just a plan on that. But my question that I was gonna say, how difficult is it going to be for Linebarger to be able to go in there, okay, you're gonna buy that property, you're gonna have to have this, look at that. I'm just trying to, are we gonna make it really difficult for them to sell these properties if we put all these? So, whether they're like lot sizes, it's gonna be kinda hard because it depends. But I think if we go up to at least 50 to 75%, I think that would take care of covering the larger sizes.
I don't think you're gonna have problems selling a lot.
No, I'm just saying, for the company, the law firm that represents us, well, let me look at it. It has city services, well, you're gonna have to bid higher. Or, it's this size, so you have to bid, you know what I mean? We're gonna make it real hard for them. I think if we just go up on the minimum, I think that would take care of itself, and it's up to us to whether we look at the lot size. No, we're not gonna accept that bid, it's gonna be individually to us, but we're not gonna get a $100 bid.
The other danger,
$100 bids are ridiculous.
the other danger you have with setting a minimum is you're always only going to get the minimum, you're not going to get.
Well, we had one lady that came in and gave us what was her name, Gonzalez, how much did she give us, like?
100 and something.
85% or 95%, she gave us quite a bit, she got a good sized property on that part, and I think had been on the.
She got three lots.
And I think it had been on the, what is it?
That were
Many years
50 foot
before,
lots,
yeah,
each lot.
Yeah, I think it had been.
It was a lot of lot.
Not bought, but that's just I'm just saying 50-75%, so we don't make it that difficult for Linebar, and then we can just set our own. I mean, as they come to us, just say, well, it's got city services, that kind of thing.
But I think if Linebarger understands where we're coming from up front, he won't bring the people with the $100
Oh,
bids.
no,
And that's the problem he does. He brings the $100 bids to us, and we go like, that's not even 20%, so I think we have to be very clear.
I already asked that question, and if they put it out there and they give an offer, it has to come to the city council,
us?
and we have to reject it.
Well, that's ridiculous.
Well, yeah, because nobody else wants to buy it. That's why a lot of them been sitting off the rolls for 10, 12 years.
Okay.
But
No,
that's
'cause-
what I asked, yeah.
So they still have to come to us, and we have
Yeah.
to make sure not be.
So
Not-
eager to take that $100.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I agree.
With a notion, well, let's put it back on the tax roll. Yeah,
But
we're still losing a lot of money.
you have expressed to Linebarger your minimum, was it 30% requirement,
Yes,
right? And so
30% was what we
they
expected.
made that sort of known to the purchasers or potential purchasers before coming, right? So.
But there's still some of them coming down a little bit below that, so,
Right.
yeah. But that's just my feeling, so.
Well, and I think what you saw coming below was the transition from the 2020 to the 21 appraisal.
That made a huge difference.
That made a huge difference, and that's, if the appraisal district last year said something was worth $1,000, and they said this year it's worth $15,000, and I think that was actually one of the examples,
Yeah.
like, what's going on?
Yep.
Why did that increase so much? But some of the percentages, I think, were varied, or were below the 30% because of the increased value of the property between the two transitions of 2020 to 2021. So they got the proposals and the bid proposals in before the July certification that was coming to you now. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
Okay.
what is the council saying? Are you saying to increase it
I want to increase it.
Yes.
I don't know what the
Yes.
majority, but that's
Yes,
my.
I agree.
Yes.
to,
75.
you're saying 75? Do I hear 80?
50% on raw land and 75% if it has city services?
I agree.
Is that okay?
That's what we're looking for.
It's another start.
Yep.
It's another,
Yep.
That's what we're looking for.
it's
Okay,
another,
Thank you.
Okay, now we're gonna go to update on Texas Municipal League Conference.
Well, Ricky and I were honored to go and represent the city of Aransas Pass at the TML conference in Houston. And I'm just going to give a rundown of what we went to, and she's going to give you all the other information. So the opening session, I even asked if we could get a copy of the video. It's a gentleman by the name of John Register, and it was Shift from Fear to Freedom and Embrace Your New Normal. He was going to the Olympics. He fell during some training, broke his leg in multiple places. They ended up having to amputate his leg, so he ended up being on the paralegal team, and he just, what it took for him to understand what his new normal was. Amazing speaker. We also went to a conference at how small cities are using the coronavirus local fiscal recovery funds, and that's all about the American Rescue Act. Our city does a great job in handling those funds. We've got a great handle on that. Next was working together for the Texas future. Basically, it's P3, public, private, non-private entities that share common objectives. It was a 1.5 hour discussion, lots of information, and I asked if they were going to put it on. They said they would have all the notes and slides and everything up on the TML website. As of today, it is still not there. We went to the Texas Municipalities Invest in Their Digital Future. That was by Magellan Advisors. That was based on broadband issues and how to actively expand high-speed internet in cities, and they can work with the cities to get that done.
And that's one, if I can, they're saying that there are some grants that are coming out to help.
Yes.
That to help fund some of the cost on that. So hopefully we have someone that's looking in for grants that to help cover some of the expenses for the city.
And I think I gave you his name from Magellan.
Yes, you did.
Yes.
In the case of the digital broadband, is that what you're talking
Mm-hmm.
about? Yes, we have met with the Council of Governments already on that.
Good.
They have been denied, but it's something that we can continue to pursue unless David and Jeff are aware of any other. Okay. But they haven't given up on it. Council of Government, that's a good source to go through for us, and they're very attuned to that particular issue. So we'll continue to work with them.
Yeah, I gave it to him.
Okay.
Yeah, I gave him the flyer.
So we were trying to
too.
look for free money, if you
Yeah.
know what I mean, so.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Yeah.
always come, but we can always ask for it.
And I think I still have one more of the flyers that I can give to either one of you. Then we went to an interesting one that was understanding the comptroller's state sales tax. And most of it was what we already knew, but we were not aware that we get sales tax revenue from the internet sales, that internet sales that come into our zip codes. So that was really interesting.
If it's not like a person, you don't walk in, you don't have to, if you're not dealing with a person.
Right.
Like, for instance, if you go buy a shoe, they don't have it, they have to send it from somewhere else.
Mhm.
But if it's shipped directly from the warehouse to you.
Like Amazon.
You should be a sales tax collected.
We should be
I
getting
thought
sales tax.
That's new. I thought voters had to approve that.
No,
No,
he didn't say
according-
that. He said that's sales tax that your city should be receiving, so we need to, okay.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
Then the other one was what to know so you can grow, tools to prepare yourself for the population growth, and it was seek to understand the strategic planning meeting, follow it, and look at your community vision and your comprehensive plan, which we've discussed.
Yes.
And then we went and celebrated Vicky's birthday. That's all
Oh.
for us. Okay, that was Wednesday. Thursday, we did the legislative updates. Then we did bringing private infrastructure investments to the Texas cities. Then we went to a luncheon with the power of connectional intelligence.
This was really a far out there kind of
Oh
thing.
my God, that woman talked for an hour and a half, never took a breath, and we didn't understand a damn thing she said.
Really, I'm serious.
The good one was managing the minefield between a city hall and a municipal court, your municipal court. We listened to him when we were in San Antonio. We went again. He had a lot of new updates. and then fiscal planning for capital improvements. And we feel, after listening to that, AP has a great handle on that. Go ahead, you tell them all the rest of the stuff. And we came home Thursday night. We did not, even though we had hotel rooms, we checked out Thursday morning, so the city did not have to pay that extra a day of the hotel and everything, so.
We gave the money back.
We
to
gave the
city.
money back,
Good.
$334.
Good, each one of us.
So-
And I know we visited some of the vendors that they had in the, what is it, in showroom or whatever they
The
call
exhibit
that.
hall.
Exhibit hall, there you go. There wasn't as many as there were in San Antonio. They didn't have a lot of, as far as availability. They had the, more like the big equipment, what to do in a freeze, those kind of things. Hopefully we don't have another one in another 40 years. But one of the things that was kind of interesting, and there's a vendor that made a presentation that in Great Britain, they have where you can have a talking bench.
Chief is gonna love this one.
A talking bench, a bridge, a light
Fire
pole,
hydrant.
fire hydrant. If you're standing there, you can say, "Hello, how was your day?" I said, if I had that, I'd have a heart attack.
We were like, do what? And they had one example there that you could go up and talk to it, and we were like, oh, that is not for our city.
I have no idea. But one of the things that was really interesting is, we're planning to put, a statue of the shrimp boat, something along.
Right.
And we thought that would be something good to look into, so that way anyone that's visiting and they want to go hear the history of Clon Brown, the shrimping, that would be something for us to look into, to give that. But I don't want us to put it in a bench, or a fire hydrant. Because I was telling Jan, way back, I went to a seminar in the Holiday Inn Beach, the Holiday Inn on Emerald Beach. And my friend and I were looking for a vending machine to buy a soda because, we had a break. And so we walked in, and then somebody said, hello, hello, hello. And we're like, who's talking? It was a man's voice. Who's talking to us? And, we just kept on going. And he said, how are you? Hello, hello. It was the Coke machine. And, oh, my God. And we were going crazy. Like, there's a man following us around. So I can imagine what it'll do to our residents.
Yeah, exactly.
If we have talking benches and fire hydrants and light poles, that would not be real. But that's something interesting to look into for the statue.
Yes.
Shrimp
Yeah,
boat.
they have-
Another thing that they had is, I know that, is it Green, keep Aransas pass?
Yeah.
Green Clean.
Green
Green
Clean.
Clean.
And they had, we could never find anyone
Clean
in their
Green.
booth
Clean
where
Green.
they have like flower pots that can be like self-watering, and kind of interested in that because I know they're interested in putting up some landscaping, right, in some of these little corners, right, I saw that they were digging out and cleaning. That would be something interesting for us to look into.
Downtown group.
Yeah, the downtown group, just to beautify that, because I know sometimes the plants aren't watered, but it seemed to be very nice, but we couldn't find anyone to really visit.
But I did take a screenshot
Yes,
of the company.
contact information. I thought that would be something good for us here.
Okay.
Two other things. There was a company there, and I do have their flyer at the house. I thought I brought it. They can retrofit our lampposts downtown if we're having,
Oh, that's right.
that they don't work. They'll come in, it's by Philips.
Mhm.
They'll retrofit our lampposts downtown to make your downtown light up, because they said a lot of companies, a lot of cities have the problems with old lights and stuff like that, so rather than replacing the whole thing, they retrofit them. So that was one thing.
That's good info.
And also looking into, we're talking about the new pavilion at Shrimpery, putting solar on the new Shrimpery roof, and that would save a lot of money on power. We spent a good amount of time with the people from the city of Odom. And you'll all remember when we went to the new elected council things, we met Shannon from City of Melissa. She tracked me down. She said, "You don't remember me, do you?" I remembered her face, but I didn't know where she was from. So that was another thing. And the luncheon that we went to, we spoke to somebody where they were bringing in all the Afghanistan refugees. And we talked about how that affected their community and stuff.
Haiti also.
And Haiti too. So we had a lot of good information.
And
It was good 2 days.
And a lot of them were, the cities that were in our location, one was from Laredo, and up, what was that, far north, but they're having some issues with the refugees being brought in. And they're having issues. Majority that we heard is housing. A lot of them is the housing. And in some of them, they're saying it's hard, they're bringing, they said bringing the value down because they have a large group move into a house and they dig out all the flooring because they make holes on, underneath their houses.
For more people.
And so it's like, whoa, I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
we're not there yet. Yeah, we're not there. I hope that doesn't happen. But it was interesting to hear what everyone else was going through, the issues that they're having. And we met the new city manager from Taft. I didn't even know that they had a new city manager there. She just started in July, I
They
think.
hadn't had one for how long?
A year and a half.
Yeah.
We met her at the mayor's meeting.
Well, like I said,
Yeah, right.
I guess we met her before you did. So anyway, it was just interesting to visit with people and different issues that they're going through and how are y'all doing this and how do y'all address that. So it's good sharing. If you're not getting it a lot from the conferences, at least you're getting it from interacting with somebody else from the other cities.
We had a great time, and thank you for allowing us to go and represent the city.
We behaved.
Glad y'all went.
We behaved.
We wore our
Did you wear the
shirts every
shirts?
day,
We did.
different, yes, pink on Monday, purple on Tuesday, pink on Wednesday, purple on Thursday. So, yes, we did. I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
Are we there yet?
That was it. That was it.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
In the case of Mr. Rosa.